Hello, how are you doing? If there's some setting or backdrop to this blog, it would be rain, and it would be the fact that I've been wet and all my stuff's been wet, even clothes that are dry. Anyway, a lot of rain. In summary, the rainy season, I think they call it, because it rains all the time. I'm doing this video because there's no way I could type out the blog that I wrote the other night. I spent about 2 hours typing with my new hand, and then of course when I went to open the file today, it only contained a paragraph, even though I wrote a lot more. Anyway, so here it is. This is a story. I think I had already written some which I've saved on Gmail up until San Cristobal, so I'll latch that up in the old text format and just continue from there. I left San Cristobal and headed towards the coast of Puerto Escondido. I got my first taste of the autopistos. Beautiful paved roads. They seemed expensive to me, but little was I to know that those were cheap compared to the others. I decided to make a quick stop in at this canyon, which was recommended to me, Canyon Sumidero, which was beautiful, but I got a kind of feeling of, one, being a tourist, complete tourist, because I didn't really spend a lot of time there, and generally when I go to places I like to spend a little time there just to actually appreciate them, rather than just doing drive-by tourism, which is what I did. Drove along the top of the canyon, took some pictures, had a look and left. Also got a feeling of deja vu because they were pretty much similar to the canyons that I'd seen in Brazil towards the start of the trip. But they were beautiful, I'll give them that. So I left there, headed down from the mountains towards the coast, and got to the coast of Oaxaca, which is really quite beautiful. The piece that I saw anyway was had little or no population, no towns or anything, just travelling for miles and miles and miles. Mountains just covered with trees. Beautiful wild coast. Was very nice. Towards the end of the day I got near Puerto Escondido, pulled in, got myself Coca-Cola and stood by the bike and kind of looked down and went, oh yeah, there's some oil spilling out of my bike, what the hell is that? So had a look, couldn't really see where it was coming from, and decided to check the oil, see how much would come out. Not that much, was okay. Put the thing back in and went to drive off. I hadn't screwed it back in. Oil had started being pumped out of the engine and covered and flowed down the front of the bike. So of course that would make finding the source of the oil leak even harder. Anyway, I went on, got to Puerto Escondido, shopped around, found a fairly cheap place. I was pretty delighted with it. Had a quick swim, some beers, went to bed. Next day I headed into town to get the bike cleaned so I could find this oil leak, see if it was a major problem. Went up to the lavanderia, the cleaning place for cars and bikes, pulled up and said, you clean the bike, how much, blah blah. I was like, okay, well look, the main thing is I want to get rid of all this oil. I said, do you have any degreaser? And they're like, kind of looked to each other, kind of looked up, looked up and to the right, and I was like, oh yeah, preparing a lie, are we? Not so much, but preparing the bull. And the guys said, yeah, sure, this, and they pulled up some window cleaner. I was like, no, that's not going to do it, mate. So I said, I need disingrassia, I need degreaser. Didn't have any, so basically I got one of their employees, threw him in the back of the bike, and we drove across town, picked up some degreaser and drove back. They did a great job cleaning the bike, drove around the corner to the mechanic and got him to have a look at it there. And he was like, yeah, I think it's coming out of your starter motor. And I was like, oh yeah, it is, yeah, you're right, yeah. I said, no, don't worry about that, I've taken that starter motor out plenty of times, I'll do that. I love when that happens. I go to a mechanic, get them to give me their opinion, and then end up doing the work myself, which is just perfect for me, really. So got that, took out the starter motor, had a look, yeah, the O-ring was all messed up. Went around the corner to just a crappy little store, bought an O-ring, which clearly isn't for BMW or whatever, lashed it on, seemed to be the right size, and put it back in, no problem. Wanted to get some oil, they kind of knew where it was, lashed one of the lads in the back of the bike, drove across town, picked up some oil, and dropped it back to the mechanics, and that was it. Had some drinks that night, partied with some guys from Guadalajara. They gave me a free road atlas, which is nice, so I felt obliged to drink some of their alcohol, and had a great night. Don't really remember towards the end of it. Woke up the next day and was extremely hungover. Took a little breather and eventually jumped on the bike and headed towards Mexico City, where I was going to take a sort of pit stop outside Mexico City and then head on to Guadalajara the next day. That day was pretty good, dry pretty much all day. I was delighted with that, and thought that it was maybe out of rainy season and some sort of madness. as I got pretty much towards the destination, of course, 20 minutes before I found a hotel, it absolutely bucketed out of the sky, and there was thunder and lightning and storms and just craziness, and the streets were turned into rivers. And of course, the whole in my pants, which had pretty much gone from the crotch down to about the knee at this stage, just let me get soaked. So I ended up checking into hotel a little bit more expensive than I normally would, because I just wanted to get the hell out of the rain, and I was just fed up and blah blah blah. So found out Michael Jackson was dead the next morning, and to be honest, didn't really care that much. I was like more concerned about my own stuff, you know. Well, how cruel. So anyway, sorted out, did a few things, and headed on to Guadalajara city. That took all day. Went on the autopistas pretty much all the way. And that cost an absolute fortune. It was like $45 for just one day on the autopistas. And got to Guadalajara. It was pretty much dark when I arrived in, and so I've got like it's dark, it's lashing down rain, and there's like bright lights from trucks all around me and cars and stuff, and I'm heading into the city on like a 3 or 4 lane motorway looking for signs for the centro, and driving through at points rivers. So that was kind of pretty dangerous, but eventually through the aid of some random people got there. As I pulled into a garage to like ask them directions, the starter motor, not the starter motor, the starter sprag clutch started making that horrible grinding sound, which I've been kind of trying to ignore every time I heard it, which is about once, twice, maybe 3 times at this stage. I was kind of hoping that it would just either go away or not become too much of a serious problem, although at this particular point in time it was gaining significance. It was getting a little bit more horrible in sound. And anyway, got the bike started, went into town, and arrived at the couch surfer's house, Carla, and set up, had some beers, went to bed. Next day got up, bought brand new rain gear, brand new plastic bags for all my gear, did laundry because all my clean clothes were wet and had been wet for days and were now stinking. Got them all cleaned, had new plastic bags, new plastic gear, it was all good. She ended up having to head off, so suddenly I was promoted from downstairs just on the ground sort of thing, to having her double bed and being able to use her bicycle all day. So I got cycling around the city centre, beautiful city centre of Guadalajara, really fabulous. Just drove around, had a bit of crack, and went back to the house where I hung out with Gonzalo, her flatmate. He was heading off to a free concert with lots of people, one of them being Gloria Estefan. And I thought, what the hell, I'm in town, and Gloria Estefan's like a big 80s star, maybe she might sing some songs that I might know, and you know, I'm here, it's local, it's free, why not? So we headed off to that, and on our way there, I guess in summary you'd probably say we were mugged. We were just walking along, and then these 3 guys came along. They were had been drinking. They're sort of like Mexican homeboys, you know, wearing basketball jerseys and stuff. They basically kind of came towards, hey, where are you from, you know, in Spanish, and I was like, I'm not American, I'm Irish, you know, we're all good friends here, you know, and they kind of kept walking and moving as they were coming towards me, but Gonzalo wasn't moving, and then eventually they were kind of like, hey man, give me some money for beer, and I was like, no chance, kind of laughing at them almost, and then one guy was kind of like reaching for something in his belt, kind of like underneath his jersey, like he had a gun, kind of making like homeboy action and stuff, which I thought was kind of half ridiculous, but also at the same time he might have something there, shit. So I kind of grabbed his arm that was going. I was like, hey man, what are you doing? What's going on here? You know, and I grabbed his other arm, kind of pushed him away, and he was like, get the fuck off me, man, you know, all this shit. And then they had like Gonzalo, one other guy had him, and they were grabbing at his camera. He brought his camera out, a little camera. And so he was kind of getting some money ready to give to them, and at this stage I let go of the other guy, and he kind of walked away, but they're kind of pretty pissed off. And Gonzalo ended up giving them like 10 pesos, which is like dollars, and for beer, and they kind of let go of his camera, but they were kind of still pissed off at me. One guy's squaring up to me, and I thought things were kind of phasing out. I was like, okay, yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. And then suddenly, bam, your man right hooks me in the jaw, and I was like, whoa. I just got punched in the jaw, thinking to myself, and I just kind of looked at your man, and I kind of had a little grin. I was kind of like, you know, is that the best you've got? And I was pretty happy with myself because I took this punch and didn't really affect me. I don't know. It seemed stock enough. Anyway, so I basically backed away from that situation. I decided best not to fight them since I broke my arm a while ago. 3 of them in Foreign City and whatnot. But let's see, what running time here. Oh Jesus, 10 minutes. I'm gonna